The Simmons bore sighter is quite an easy, useful tool to use. You get different size studs to fit your rifle, and on the stud there's a spring-loaded part there. This slides into your barrel, that holds it nice and tight, and the slot there, the flat part, that's to attach the bore sighter to it. So very easy to use and looking quite secure. But I'm not using a 50 caliber this morning. It's the humble 177 air rifle. Much smaller, got the flat there as you can see, but it's also got the size so you don't get mixed up. The little spring clip there to hold it inside the bore quite firmly. The bore sighter itself, compared, is quite a chunky item. Got lens both sides, that's diffused so you don't get no glare, bright lights looking through your scope. With the screw underneath, you just insert the rod, pin to the V shape there, and the flat part you just screw the thumb screw down until it tightens onto the flat part, and that inserted into your barrel aligns the barrel and the scope. I'll show you how. The instructions that come with it, there's not very much, rather basic, but it does tell you all you need to know. Inside the bore sighter, when it's looked through the scope, you'll see the circle and the grid pattern and the crosshairs to align your crosshairs with. The idea is, with your crosshairs, whatever position, move the scope across until it's in the centre. Now I'm not going to pay too much attention to that. I'm more interested in getting the left to right. As long as that's correct, I'm not too fussy about the up and down, but obviously I'll try and get it somewhere in the centre. The thing to remember is this covers all calibers, all rifles, different ammunition, so when you actually zero the scope on paper, you might find the crosshair is up here somewhere or down here, but nevertheless it should be still more or less in the centre for left to right. So I'm not going to concentrate too much on the up and down, just get this left to right. That'll get the scope close enough. The handy thing with this, once you've zeroed on paper, you put this back in your rifle, you look through the scope and you mark down on a piece of paper whereabouts the crosshairs are on this grid. It could look quite different to what it's supposed to, but once it's on paper you can cross-reference it with this. So if you think you've knocked the scope, or perhaps you're trying different ammunition, and after a few weeks and different styles of ammunition you might want to go back to your original, if you've noted it down you've got a handy reference point. Whereabouts on here is your aim point. So I'm just going to try and see if I can roughly zero the scope, and let's see it in action. That was fairly quick and simple to fit the scope and line it up. It's only a rough guide, and I'm sure I'll need to tweak it a little bit more. In fact, I'm going to give another little tweak with this item. A bit later on I shall put it onto a bipod, get myself really comfortable. The one thing I did notice with this, although it's a fairly good fit inside the bore, when it was on the rifle itself, it kept on leaning over slightly, only by a bit. So what I want to do is see if I can keep this still and line it up a little bit better. But for the moment I'm quite happy. It could save quite a bit of ammunition trying to zero on paper. As I look through the scope, and I got it roughly in position using this bore sighter, it did show the scope was quite well out. So for now I'm quite pleased. I just need to do it just a little bit more of a tweak, and away we go.